Welcome back, YouTube, to another rating video on the culture of currency. I hope you all enjoyed your holiday and have been safe in these weird times. Please remember to subscribe so that you do not miss any ratings or unboxings. My next unboxing will be later this month. I'm going to be researching what coins I want to add to my collection. If you think you know one that I should look at and follows our rules, let me know. And if you don't remember what rules I go by when making purchases, please check out in my channel description. Today's video is over a coin that many of you have. This is one of the standard coins that both collectors and stackers tend to gravitate towards. We are talking, of course, about the Austrian Philharmonic. If you are not familiar with this coin, you are going to be by watching this video. This coin we are looking at today is a 2013. It really would not matter as long as it was between 2008 and 2020 because the design has not changed and, to my knowledge, is not planning on changing. When we look at the front of the coin, we see Wiener Philharmonic, which is German. It means Vienna Philharmonic, which is one of the most absolute premier orchestras in the world. I can actually vouch for that because I have a degree in music and have performed around the world myself. My first instrument was actually the cello. The instruments featured on this coin include violin, viola, cello, horn, harp, and bassoon. These are all instruments that are usually found in concert and symphonic settings. We also see the word Silber, which is German for, you guessed it, silver. On the back, it has the words Republik Österreich, which means Republic of Austria, as well as the standard denotations in German. Center stage, we have a massive pipe organ, which is one of my favorite instruments of all time. So why does this Austrian coin have so many musical instruments? Most people would say it's because of the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra, which is the name of this coin. I think we have to go further back to understand why the orchestra is so good to begin with. This orchestra was founded in 1842, but the musical influences of Vienna go further back. In the mid to late 1700s, we have what was considered the first Viennese school of music, and three of the biggest composers to ever live came out of this era. We have Joseph Haydn, Wolfgang Mozart, and Ludwig Beethoven. If you've never heard of these guys, shame on you, and use whatever time you have to check out some of their works. I can promise you that you've heard their biggest symphonic works. There are many other composers of note and, of course, who studied in places like Paris and Venice, but that is a topic for another episode. During and after the Impressionist period, we transitioned into another major musical movement in Austria referred to as the Second Viennese School of Music. Here we find works and composers that pushed the boundaries of math and physics of music and could be the equivalent of Jackson Pollock or Picasso art to art. In fact, if you ever want to see history in a cool way, study the political climate of a historical time and relate that to artists or composers. You will see such a connection to the compositional ideas and process that relate to the particular political climates. Once again, that's a topic for another show, but if you have time, go for it. So we see that Vienna is one of the most important places to music as a whole, and it is influenced in the musical space without question. On a personal note, I actually was invited to Salzburg, which is in Austria, to perform in my younger days for a Mozart festival honoring his 250th anniversary. I do not know if the artwork will ever change or if they will one day highlight maybe Mozart or Haydn, but I know that this is a big part of their history. If you're ever interested, you should check out the other three Austrian coins I've also reviewed on the 825th anniversary of the Austrian Mint. I will link those in the description below. Those go over much more mainstream history of Austria. This one tends to fall into the music area. Now you should have a great understanding of this coin, so let's put it to our scale. On the front, we have an excellent detail, many instruments, and a great font selection that really pops out. I also praise this mint for not changing the language to English. I think it really looks better when the people's language of a country is more important than standardizing everything to English, so it gets an 8. On the back, we have a perfect classical organ. We see detailing and great architecture. Once again, we have great fonts and original language. The only knock is the same as the front, which is a little bit more mirrored finish than I like. It's not overwhelming, so I'll give it an 8. Next, we have mintage. This is a mass-produced silver coin that is bought and traded daily by the millions, and the mintage for this particular 2013 was 14,536,408. As you can see, it is very high and does affect this part of our score. Basically, anything over a million gets a 1. When it comes to cultural significance, this is a pretty high flyer. They are one of the only countries that can and should have this on a coin. This particular coin also highlights one of the best orchestras in the world in the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra. They also stay true to their language and wording, so it has to get a 10. Next category is collectability. With this coin having over 14 million minted and still being highly collectible is a pretty cool thing. It of course is backed by government legislation and approved for holdings in America. This coin also is quite pretty and one that everyone seems to have. I will give it a 10 because stackers and collectors alike always have or strive to have at least one of these. Many of those stackers out there have hundreds of these. Uniqueness is our final category. This coin is unique in subject matter, but the market is flooded with these over many years. I do not think they're as coveted or unique as, let's say, the American Eagle, but they're very comparable to others like the Libertad, so I scored a 7. This brings the total of this coin to 44 out of 60. I hope you have learned to appreciate this coin a little bit more. Please remember that anyone can do this by making intentional purchases of manageable amounts. Never waste a paycheck on this, but do it in a way where there is a small part of your budget when you are debt-free. Freedom has to start from within, and being debt-free is a great place to start. If you have questions about how I became debt-free or my process in buying silver, please let me know, and as always, please stay classy and current with the culture of currency.